Hooah! And here we
Yo.
are again. Hey guys, it's Pure MTG. Bob and I and Matt, we have a chat, and we're always, back and forth talking about MTG stuff, if that's what's interesting of the day. Lorcana news, Flesh and Blood, all the different TCGs, CCGs. We're doing all the stuff behind the scenes, keeping a pretty good back and forth. And one of the things that we've been talking about recently is Amazon's Prime sales, and then also with that, the recent spoilers with Commander Masters. And I've got to say, I've been paying a lot of attention to it, Bob, but not in a good way. I live up in Vermont, and if you guys aren't aware, we've been having a lot of flooding. I personally haven't been impacted. Family's safe, all that stuff. So don't worry. Thank you much for all the contact. I really appreciate the outpouring of support. So thank you everybody very much. But one of the things I've been doing while I've been holed up and the storm crews are out saving everybody is I've been watching this stuff on YouTube. And man, Bob, I gotta say, we kind of called it on some of the low-hanging fruit here, but it is super disappointing. As you can see by what Bob has pulled up here, man, it's just crazy losses. Why don't you take the mic for a sec, Bob?
Yeah, sure. So what I was talking about with Pat, and I felt like we needed to, for our audience, for our dedicated followers that are going to watch this content, point out something we know from the spoilers. Deadly Rollick is getting a reprint in full art, as a matter of fact, the one that I saw on the spoiler list. And what that triggers me to say, and clearly we're already behind the curve, because what you can see on my screen here, somebody else had some knowledge at the beginning of June, because this series looks like right around June 13th just started crashing. It's not just Deadly Rollick. It is also that cycle with
the whole
deflecting
free
SWAT.
command. Yeah,
you'll see it started dropping at the beginning of June. And, the big dog, of course, Fierce Guardianship, also just kind of hit a cliff, relatively speaking, at the beginning of June. Just massive drop-off. So if you haven't already done so, and you are holding these cards for value,
well,
my expectation is they're going to drop. Like, they're all going to go right over a cliff.
That is, again, the conversation of price versus value. If you're holding on to it and you think that the price is a determining factor in how you see the value of this card, definitely offload it. This is me and Bob talking back and forth, not financial advice to anybody out there. But, if it were anybody of my close circle, I would definitely give them that advice. If you're holding on to that card because it's great in red to have something like deflecting SWAT, you don't really get that type of action, honestly, in red. Now, same thing for, Deadly Rollick. You want to kill a lot of stuff, fits right in perfectly in a lot of black decks. So if you want those pieces for that type of value, definitely keep them around. Be happy if you don't have them because they're getting cheaper. But what doesn't make sense to me is the clear anticipation of any reasonably informed player that the card value, the singles price, is going to go down with these reprints. I mean, that's literally the what we have on screen here. All those red arrows is not good for the market. Now,
well, and maybe we should define specific terms, because we're always talking about value and then having to clarify financial value versus play value. So perhaps we just discuss the cards when we're talking about them in those terms, with financial value versus play value. For a play value, it's a piece of cardboard. It's the same for most people as getting a 30-cent card from Make Playing Cards. Looking at you, Make Playing Cards, make us an offer. For play value, they're almost exactly the same, especially when you're talking Commander, because there is no tournament that you can join for Commander. It's only people and their tolerance of you're using that play piece that is not printed by WotC, if you want to put it that way. But for financial value, which is, let's just be real. That's when people are making videos, when people are watching openings, when they're watching these spoilers, they don't get excited about, they're reprinting that 15-cent card that really is good, but they're reprinting it. So needed one. I'm going to get one now. When we look at the hype, it's always focused around high dollar, high value cards. And what's bizarre is we get excited about it And then immediately what happens invariably after every printing, they drop. Which brings
that's
me to
literally the conversation I'm having with Cosmic right here in the chat is, Training Grounds was a phenomenal card. Now it's basically a bulk rare. And that's the thing about reprints is it made it tank so hard. I mean, that's unfortunately it's if you want to lose weight, eat less, and it's like, well, I like eating, so I can't lose weight. It's the same dichotomy of having cards be expensive. I want the cards to be valuable, but I also want them to be cheap. Those are reasonably mutually exclusive. It's hard to mix that stuff.
Absolutely. And it's what people want, of course, naturally, but it's like the monkey that sticks his hand in a hole trying to get a bunch of ants. I want these ants. I want these ants, but I can't get my hand out of the hole now, right? And that's just what we are. We want to reach in easy and get a whole bounty and pull it out, but we can't because those two things are mutually exclusive, just like you said. Perfect terminology for it, right? Funny that they're picking on one of my favorite mechanics, the joined forces. So I would expect to see the joined forces reprinted, that whole cycle in Commander. And I wonder if they're paying attention to like Commander raids because it's not good unless you're in Commander raids, really. And the same thing with braids. What are they watching us play? The hell, they're attacking Commander raids. Damn it! No, not yet. We're not even known. Stop doing that.
Well, it would be phenomenal though if they did ilk off something from us and put out a.
Well, who plays? Let everybody in a Commander game draw.
I was going to say, in all honesty,
nobody.
I can't buy in that Wizards is paying any attention to Commander raids because honestly, it's hard enough to get anybody in the goddamn server to play with us.
Right, but I mean, who plays these cards in a normal Commander game? You're like, no, I'm not giving the table an advantage. Get out of here.
Well, everything though, Cosmic. I mean, Fetchlands. For years and years, you can go back and watch dozens of videos from the professor, from so many flagship content creators in the Magic the Gathering sphere, and reprint Fetchlands. Well, they certainly did. And now they are still insanely cheap. We're going to see that over and over. Heroic Intervention. That used to be a very expensive card. Now, that's like a Friday night promo. It's cheap as an Arcane Signet.
It's gonna be bulk.
It's gonna be.
It barely could handle the reprinting in Core 2020, right? Or was that Core? It was Core 21.
Core 21, right? Yeah.
And I think it was a phenomenal product somewhere else, maybe a secret lair. But dude, this card about to become $2 to $5. That's my prediction.
Oh yeah, I can't expect it by any stretch to hold it. Oh God, Galta is already so cheap.
But let's talk about one. Is this a Zeus? No, it's not. Obscuring Haze. I'm not familiar with some of these. Looks like they've added some new ones. Orang Crossfang. That thing was only really expensive because it was a rarity print. Yeah, that's also about to freaking head pretty far south.
And it's and
Chromatic Lantern. Did it really need a reprint?
I think these cards look great, but that's a great point. Chromatic Lantern, phenomenal talking point here. I just recently, a couple of weeks ago, opened up some Brothers War. And because all of the artifacts were reprinted so ridiculously hard, Chromatic Lantern is like $1.36. And with the quantity that they're going to print in this product, it's at rare. So everybody and their mom's going to have one. It's
bulk already, and it's going to get bulkier.
Like, it's a pretty card. Like, I want to have that in foil etched, but it's also going to be like $250 to get that in foil etched. Actually,
that was another one that wasn't that in that was in Jumpstart, right?
And they also did that, I want to say, in Commander Collection Black. Wasn't Ghoul Color Geese in there too?
I don't remember, but
and that was
all I'm saying is it's not like any of these needed reprints. I mean, maybe Orfang or in Frostfang, but I mean, okay.
I
don't know. Again, Tyrann Dynamo, that was a nice one to have some, and now it's wasn't like it was all that expensive. If you wanted one, nobody ever said, "Damn, I wish I could have one." Now
Morophon, that's good for a lot of people, but that's fitting with the 5-colored slivers. So it makes total sense that that's going to be in the set.
Now,
That's an
Nesting
easy
Dragon, I
call.
think this might only be the second printing of it. So, okay, out of all the ones we've talked about so far, this is the one that probably needed a reprint the most, that it was only that expensive because it was rare. But that wasn't what spurred on this live chat tonight. We're getting to that in just a second.
It's funny that Cosmic brings up the Infinity Shocklands. Bob did an entire series hunting down the Shocklands because they were honestly more interesting to go after than the fucking Fetchlands because they were so heavily reprinted.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, and I think you know I know you're a very consistent viewer. You're one of our most dedicated fans, and I appreciate that. I don't know if it's just you, Stefan, but I appreciate that, and I know that you definitely echo a lot of the same sentiments that we do. No, I have yet to see anything, minus the one I'm about to point out, kind of needing a reprint. And that's what we opened the show with, and that's kind of like I'm going to beat that on and on this show for the next probably half hour. We're not going to stay on too long, but wanted to get a call to arms out there, and it was a Deadly Rollick. Now, while I like the art, beautiful card,
it does look
great.
Need
a reprint? Probably, I would say it's most expensive because it's only ever had one printing, right? So a single reprint.
Here's a flip to that though, Bob, is they could have just put it in the next reprint set. It's going to be like
just put it in other commander decks, like where it came from. It's a commander card. Why not just put it in commander decks? But whatever.
They want to control the price of cards in those. They want to have a set range.
Yeah, they say they don't pay attention to secondary market value.
They can say whatever, but they're doing something else.
I literally commented on Moxman's video today about how well it had to do with him talking about the printing, the overprinting of things that there's just too much of stuff out there. And so I don't know if you watched Mark's video today from Solar Games. And
I think I caught some of it.
That basically there's overprinting, and the Commander Masters, basically what Moxman said is showing really nothing. And he's talking about the number of prints and whatnot. And I was like, the amount of printing is one thing, but really all these things, M30, Fireside Chat, any kind of controversy that you can come up with Magic, I honestly think it's smoke and mirrors to make people not look. The reserve list came about, and this feels very much like this setup for the reserve list back in the day when they reprinted all that stuff in Chronicles, because all the Timmies wanted all the cards from the first sets cheaper because they were just too expensive, hard to get. So they reprinted them. And in those days, they literally were hard to get. I mean, we're talking like fractions of today's print runs. It was really hard to get cards. You didn't have online. There were no, marketplaces, like
TCG Player didn't exist.
TCG Player or Card Kingdom.
Yeah,
those things, they weren't a thing. So if you wanted cards, you lit, and you couldn't go get nice proxies like you can nowadays. So players literally could not get the cards back then prior to Chronicles. So they printed Chronicles, and it really wasn't a terrible idea. But those that had bought in and like, wait a minute, you're destroying all value I have in my cards. That's exactly what they're doing now, just for anything's not reserve list, right? And it prompted them. It was so bad and almost killed Magic to the point back then that they made the reserve list as kind of like a promise to save Magic. Well, this feels very deja vu. They're just printing shit out of control. And instead of just a single set like Chronicles, they're printing it everywhere in every set because there's nothing holding them back from printing cards that aren't on the reserve list. So something's coming. Something wicked this way comes for sure. This card just makes me go, Signal Flare. Let me tell my friends, which I consider people like you, Cosmic Seeds, that watch our show. Hey, not just Deadly Rollick, but they definitely are showing for certain they're reprinting that cycle. It's never been printed again since Commander 2020. If you have it and you're expecting it to maintain value, I'm warning you now, it's about to drop off a cliff. I'm not saying sell them. I'm saying the value in this cycle is about to go way down. And let's get to the next card that makes.
I was going to say the next cycle that's going to go down. Oh, well, let's stop and see a little bit of the sights on the way of cards that are going to be precipitously losing value.
Why?
Hey, what up, TCG dude?
Why did Urza Lord High Artificer need its 4th printing in 3 years? It was only like $15 before this.
It's just ridiculous. I mean,
like
cool
literally, it's in a set that's in print that they just mass dumped on Amazon because they couldn't even sell it.
Yeah,
it was just in Dominaria Remastered, and then it was in Modern Horizons 2 before that
ridiculous.
As a special card you could only get in the collector set, and then it came out.
In this, you're only going to get that full
Modern Horizons.
You're only going to get that real good version in the collector packs, though, Bob. So you should really buy in now while they're only $50-something. That's a great price. That's what some freaking hopped up CEO is thinking. Is this card was expensive, 6 months ago before you reprinted the shit out of it,
and now you're reprinting it again. Like, awesome. And if these things are truly in the chute for 2 to 3 years. Like,
as far as the length of print on this set, you're thinking it's going to be for 18 to 24 months.
It's like they knew this was already out in other sets that were still going to be in print and didn't even know they weren't going to sell. So let's put it in there anyways.
Do you, Bob? Do you think they really knew that?
I told you after Fireside. I mean, like they broke me. I'm not going to lie. I said it on Saturday stream, and Dual Brain was here when he said, "Oh yeah, you were on my stream when they broke you. I remember it." And I think Stefan was there too. Weren't you in that live chat on Dual Brains when we were talking about the Fireside chat? I'll wait a second for you to respond to that, but they did, and what it showed to me. So everything that's happened since then, literally every single thing, has only reinforced to me that Chris Cox and Cynthia Williams. Can I F-bomb now?
I don't give a shit.
Have no fucking clue how to manage a collectible card game company. No fucking clue. And I don't care if people point, oh, look, Lotro, it went up. Look, there's going to be a bubble break, right? And I think we might be getting to that point with like wallets being stretched so much. And then, look, if you really look at Lord of the Rings collector boxes and you open them and try to recoup some of your value out of those, financially speaking, it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah,
I opened one of my gift bundles, by the way, and it was ugly. It was awful. Like I think I got less. I got like $2 in value out of the cards from the collector pack. It was really bad.
On that note, okay, so this is the most I am affected by this decade long. This is probably the biggest storm we've had in Vermont in the last 10 years, right? Plus. And the most I'm affected by this is I have 6 gift bundles at a post office in a town that was flooded in just like the last couple of days. So I don't know if I have 6 very wet packages or if I have a good product that was in the right spot.
And I doubt the insurance on it's going to be high enough to really.
Well, so like that's the thing is, ouch. I'm one of those min-maxers, right? I bought one of those tiny little post office boxes, and when they can't fit all the shit in there, they put it in one of the bigger boxes. Those bigger boxes are from like my hips. It's like 3 feet or higher. So depending on, it's like a 60-40 chance, 40% chance that they're wet, 60% chance they're dry. So
I hope for your sake.
Yeah, I'll know.
But yeah, I mean, Friday, to Cosmic Seeds validation here. And not to say, look, I'm right. Haha. It's just, I call it like I see it. I'm neither an optimist nor a pessimist. And, yeah. Oh, dude, my collector pack, literally the best card in it was, it's the Shire, the full art borderless Shire, which is like $1.38.
The land. Oh, that
was the highest value card in it. I'm not kidding.
That's not very good whatsoever.
No, it was like, oh, poor Sherry. She opened it for me for good luck, and she was up. But the entire 8 booster packs. I got a mythic list slot that was like 28 cents.
Yeah, well, and so
I didn't get any of the big hits at all. The biggest thing I got was a Nazgul, but it was the cheapest one at $14. It was rough. And what I'm going to say is this, I called it, I don't know how long ago, a few days ago, maybe last week. I'm losing track of time. But I said about the Lord of the Rings is that we were in the party woohoo phase, and there will be a sobering up. And unfortunately, on the heels of sobering up, we're looking at Commander Masters, which my math is not great, but I don't like any of the value I'm seeing here, including the medallions. Like those were $20, $30 cards to begin with.
Well, that was going to be the next cycle that we touch on that's getting ruined by this set.
That was the most exciting piece because Deadly Relic and all that have already been dropping off a cliff since early June, and they're going to pile drive even farther. At Toxic, Stay Away, Danger, Will Robinson. If you're going to be chasing a Urza Lord High Artificer, why? Why?
Don't chase it. It's going to be there are going to be more Urzas down at your local gaming store than like dudes named Tom.
It's literal. So, I mean, that was one when I looked at it, I was like, why? Like, why? Like, why? Isn't Dominaria Remastered technically kind of still considered in print? Obviously, it's since they just dumped it for $111. Actually, right now, if you're watching the show and you're not aware, you can go on Amazon and buy a box of Dominaria Remastered for $111. I actually bought 6 of them. It's the only thing I bought because I consider that a ridiculously low price. And I find it hard to believe that it'll go much lower if it does go lower. But you guys know I've been pooping on it since before December, since Fireside. I said, nope, not touching it. Nope, not touching it. They're going to drop. And now with this mass dump from Amazon, a whole shitload more about to get cracked to that. So watch your Force of Will prices. Lord High Artificer, whole bunch more of them about to get cracked. Like, I'm just telling, like, all the tutors, oof, except for Personal Tutor, which, oh, by the way, they reprinted in this set too.
Here. Yeah.
So again, this is a let me make it very clear in the plainest English I know how to give. Don't buy this set sealed. Wait for it to get cracked. Wait for all the versions of all these cards, including Land Tax, a card I'm still eyeballing because I don't own one. But I'm fine with proxying it. The only one I really want is the one from Legends, the one that's offensive to look at. Azusa Lost But Seeking. I know it was like what, a $10 card at some point, but after this reprint, don't expect that.
Well, and they're doing it in a bunch of different versions too.
Jesus. Yeah. How cheap is this going to be now? Arcane Signet, Path of Ancestry, Command Tower. Oy. That's going to be a 50-cent card at best.
I mean, Arcane Signet, they literally give away.
Oh, dude. It's like, I have to say, okay. Hey, look, surprise. I like the basic lands. I think you can say that about virtually every set in Magic.
Okay, but again, to compare this, and I think it's a great comparison, this to Dominaria Remastered. And if you look at those basic lands, don't they look really reminiscent of what was just in Dominaria Remastered? Like, that's the same exact art style.
It's the old border.
The old border.
No, but the ones that were in Dominaria Remastered were actually lands in Magic history. Does anybody know where this land cycle comes from? I don't recognize the art. I'll bet it's from some rare cycle.
Oh, right, like a PAX or something. Yeah.
Like APAC lands. Or I know the APAC lands, and I don't think these are it. I know they're not it. But I think it might be from some other rare land cycle. You know what I mean? That I'm not aware of.
I think that this is a really good juxtaposition versus what we saw in Dominaria Remastered with what we're going to see in this set. Is the reason people would buy into this is to open it and get cards that before release have a reasonably high value in price.
Sure. Why else would you open it?
Right. Unless it's going to be a fun experience.
Way too high. I mean, what I make some decent money, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not buying $350 boxes to draft with my friends. Sorry.
No.
That's just like seriously. So opening it as it's intended to crack it to play with friends. No, thank you. I'll have just as much fun going getting $120 box of Commander Legends, to be honest.
And I think that for local gaming stores to buy into this product line from their distributors is going to be very expensive. Just the seller side, the prices that they're paying are going to keep this an expensive in-person product line. So the only other way to get it is through online portals. Like,
what are they going to have to charge for you to draft this? And
oh my god,
like prize support, what, $50
more
to draft? People aren't going to do that. They're just not.
Oh yeah, no, of course not. And like that's what I'm thinking here is it's just so ridiculous to
like I can't
the price and the price of entry to be so expensive is you're pushing people out of the product line, which I think for a lot of people, and they didn't want to admit it, but that was the biggest qualm with a lot of Magic the Gathering players with M30 was that they couldn't get it because it was just too fucking expensive. And I think that there was at least something that people were interested in. It was controversial, but it was interesting. Whereas with this product, it's super expensive. And what the fuck are you getting that's going to be valuable in 6 months from now? Nothing. There is not a card in here that is going to go up in value.
Portal Lands. I don't think those are Portal Lands. I like the Portal Land, which would be funny if it is, because Dominaria Remastered reprinted the one valuable Portal Land, which was the White Tree Swamp, which came out of the first Portal, which just made me laugh. So if this is some other Portal Lands, like I said, I have them, but it doesn't remind me of any of those. This might be new art, and if so, bravo, cool. But it's basic lands. I'm not paying $350 a box to get basic lands. That's the most exciting thing out of it. One more thing I wanted to point out about Deadly Rollick, and so it shows us what they're going to do with this cycle, is that Deadly Rollick is being printed at rare. If they're going to reprint the hot shit items out of something for the first time, upshift the damn thing. Right? At least preserve some sort of value, but at rare? Oh, boy. Wow.
What happened to Boss
Nice
Face?
to see you, too.
Yeah. He had to go to court. His parole officer was very strict about how he appeared in front of the circuit judge.
So I'm very concerned that they printed it at rare as well. It's like I have 3 sealed sets of Commander 2020, and the only thing that buoys the value of those things is this cycle. And now they're printing it, and they're not only printing it, they're printing a prettier version at the same rarity.
Yeah. Honestly, if I had to have either this Deadly Rollick with a devious looking demon versus a humpbacked monstrosity on the original Ikoria,
you mean a happy dinosaur? That's what it reminds me.
I think it's a very unhappy dinosaur. If I recall the
artwork, it's a happy dinosaur. He's got like a big old grin on his face. It's like a big smiley dinosaur.
I thought he was getting like decimated or something.
No. Here, let me show you. I'll share again. I don't know. I can't share 2 at the same time. Do you want to share it off of Echo MTG, or just look up Deadly Rollick, and you'll see it's a big old grinning smiley dinosaur thing whacking a dude that has a sword, and it even says on the flavor text, "Oh, Trimmy was disappointed at how quickly its new friend got tired and stopped playing." Rollick is to play, right?
Yeah.
So at any rate, my point with this was, as soon as I saw, there's cards that jumped out at me, even beyond the rest of the set that are good cards.
That is a very happy dinosaur.
Is that Deadly Rollick just showed me, okay, the rumors are over. I guess, some people knew ahead of time back in June. And I just like Yargle, so I'll probably buy one, even if it's like 2 cents. But
Benson on point. Bob's beard.
But at rare, that's just very disappointing. And then, I scrolled down and I saw, really? Yeah.
Well, and then you also have like other less enticing things next to it, like Green Omnath. Cool.
Spellseeker is actually decent, but it's very narrow. It's not like it can support reprints. It's not like everybody needs a Spellseeker in their deck.
And Maelstrom Wanderer, like that's a very niche card. I don't know how much more of that we need.
Sure. And Evacuation is just one of those miserable cards in Commander. Okay, not a board wipe, but everybody put everything you just spent all the mana putting on the table, put it back in your hands.
Take it
and
away.
All your tokens, they gone.
Yeah.
Yay, this is just, hey, why don't we slow the game down for 5 mana in blue? Yay.
And then we've got Carador, Ghost Chieftain, which is already a worthless card. Azusa, Lost But Seeking, which is just now going to get...
I want to say it was like around $10 if I'm not mistaken at best, but it's going to be... So was getting some value going back to bulk, was already kind of bulky, definitely super bulk now for Krenko.
Oh, Krenko. Chainer. Yeah, that's like a free card. Chainer, yeah, worthless. Absolutely freaking worthless now.
Kozilek, the Great Distortion, I don't think was all that expensive to begin with. I thought it was like a $15 card, if I remember right.
Honestly, I would love for Kozilek to stay $100 card just so nobody fucking plays it.
This is a different Kozilek, though. This is not the Kozilek you have. This is Kozilek, the Great Distortion. It's a different Kozilek.
All of the Eldrazi, they can just stay away. The medallion cycle.
The medallions we've already spoken about. Yay, you took an uncommon. Yeah, rare at least. That's the right move.
One of the things with the medallion cycle in specific that people need to pay attention to is when Wizards of the Coast puts in secret layers reprints of cards like the Jet Medallion in the Post Malone secret layer. It's a clear signal that within the next few months, all of those cards are going to get reprinted.
Sure.
So yes, I think that, just paying attention and being a very discerning Magic the Gathering purchaser is going to leave people feeling a lot better in these times of financial distress, especially with the prices they're charging for this shit. I mean, I wish Prismatic Vipers were good. Like if they
well, they have to put them in their set, right? They have to put them in the set so that you can draft with it.
Right, but they could make it a better card. Where
they could have made another Piper, right?
A shitty Arcane Signet, but on a creature. Just something dumb like that, where it's already a card that we're practically giving away. At least build in some $2 value in every fucking pack.
Well, they should have made a different one, at least with a different name or a slightly different attribute that, where it's unique to this product, and you can still draft it, but not super valuable and leave it printed at common. You know what I mean? Just to put something neat in there, but instead they just reprinted a worthless card from Commander Legends. Cool. That's such a non-card. Arcane Signet is it's already not worth it.
It's literally a
same thing with Command Tower at this point. Soul Ring. Path of Ancestry really wasn't that expensive to begin with, but it's getting less valuable now. All the Signets, I don't know. I'm just gonna make a prediction of where they're gonna drop down to. I'm gonna say $10 to $15 cards, period.
The medallions? Yeah. Well,
so, I mean, when you get excited about it, that's what you're getting excited about.
Okay, here's my real Pat being a douche prediction, honestly, is I think that in the next 18 months, we'll end up seeing those medallions in pre-cons because they will get so ruined in value.
Maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't really matter when it's already down to a $10 card. I mean, Urza, do you remember what was he before Dominaria Mastered got reprinted? I think it was a $45 card, somewhere around that ballpark. It was a $40, $50 card. It's already at $15. And after this printing, $5 card, maybe. Personal Tutor, first reprinting of it, I believe. And well, that means, just like you said, I would expect the same thing you just said, Pat. Expect to see it printed in a secret lair and a pre-con again somewhere. I expect secret lair would be the next printing.
Urza at one point had gotten up to almost $70 from the original Modern Horizons.
Oh, it was over that originally with the not the OG printing, but maybe the foil version of it was, but the foil etched version was $95, I want to say.
So
land tax, expect it to drop down to $15-$20 tops.
They are practically common, Benson. Okay, I did that Minneapolis bundle, the festival.
Did you say Minneapolis?
It was.
Did you combine Indianapolis with Minneapolis.
Sure.
Minneapolis. Minneapolis. I like it. That's what we're gonna call it from now on.
So if they literally just throw in an Arcane Signet with it. I mean, those are like promos. Arcane Signets and Soul Rings are, for all intents and purposes, free.
Okay. So Cosmic Seeds got it there. I knew it was expensive. $150 is what it was at one time, and I think you're going to see the foil versions drop down. I like the OG ones probably are too rare to drop down, to the $40 range. But yeah, I mean the card financial value. I don't know what to say. I've been saying it for months. We're headed to a very dark place in Magic. If you're concerned at all about your card value, the financial value of your cards, I'm gonna and to a lesser extent, but certainly to an extent, sealed. I mean, just like back and tell you,
look at what just happened today.
Dominaria United collector boosters. I bought a case of them at $212. Well, today you could buy a collector booster, unlimited, I believe, or up to 20 of them. For what was it, $110 or something like that? I was like, oh. And then
we'll see. Like that's the flip side is we're comparing this product to Dominaria Remastered, which we were just showing at $111. So it's like, what value is there in reprint sets after you reprint those reprints again that have already been printed previously
and reprinted previously, and you're going to reprint them again? It's like,
I can't expect
you guys are going to jump on the Bob bandwagon of reprint hate like soon enough. At some point, everybody, even those that want cheap cards, are going to go, wait. Even Super Fast Tortoise started changing his tune not too long ago. I was like,
well, and that's part of it.
Everything they're doing hurts the game value.
Part of looking at the Amazon sale that's going on right now, July 11th and 12th. Today's the 12th, is Amazon Prime sales, right? So you can go on and you can see all this stuff at crazy cheap prices. Part of the stuff that's on there is Commander decks too. So it's like they're taking every chance they can to rob value, because even when you look at the professor's breakdown, our pre-con's worth it. They always have to say, we're not looking at cards below $1 or $2. Well, if they keep printing them so frequently, all of those cards are even less. All the $5 cards become $2 cards. All the $10 cards that were hidden gems in there are now $3 to $5. Everything's just perceiving just over and over a higher value based on cards that are just losing price. So it's a shit time to be like investing into Magic. One of my buddies was asking me, he's like, oh, I hear about all these cool other TCGs like Meta Zoo and, Alpha Clash is up and coming and Flesh and Blood's really hot nowadays. Should I buy into Magic or anything? I was like, no, honestly, you should buy into like stocks. Like this is a great time to be a player because they're putting out more and more sets. But I mean, don't buy sealed. Only at this point, only ever buy singles unless it's
let's back that up just
for the
a second.
fun time.
I think even you, like, if you want to buy some sealed with the intention that someday you're probably going to crack it with friends. That's exactly why I just bought 6 boxes of Dominaria Remastered, because it does look like a baller set to actually draft with friends, right? That is the whole purpose. I just dropped $700. But do most people have $700 in cash just laying around that they can drop on something that they just want to crack for a game? Probably not. And I'm not boasting. I'm just saying, in realistic value, I did buy 6 boxes, and I bought them fully intending not to crack for value or for fun, but to crack to play at some point, right?
Tank Muffins. Great name, dude.
But, and unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap up the stream here pretty quickly because we're going to
we're about to start another stream right here.
I felt it was important to holler out, especially with that. So one more time before we go to break, I want to just restate our intent today was sort of like a signal flare to say, hey, let me share a screen again, and just so I can. Oh, what happened? Share with you guys the cycle that we're talking about, because we saw that they're reprinting Deadly Rollick, which means they're going to reprint that cycle. Yeah, and if not in Commander Masters, it's coming super soon. So if you own these 3 cards, maybe even this fourth one, Flawless Maneuver, but that was just in a pre-con reprint, I believe. And it's already down at like freaking $10. All of these cards I expect to see reprinted in Commander Masters over the next couple of days. And while these still have some value, if that's what you're holding on to them for is financial value, you may want to consider unloading them like your butt was on fire. I expect these to completely face plant in the next month. And that's up to you, not financial advice, but if you're a listener, you know, being gracious enough to spend your time with us, that's my advice. And I'm going to say I'm giving that advice. Additionally, I'm advising don't buy Commander Masters, not sealed. Wait. We say this over and over and over and over again. Wait 3 to 6 months. It's Commander. What are you in a hurry to get the cards for? Wait 3 to 6 months to see where the prices go. Wait to get past the hype. You know, be a little patient. Be, you know, good with your money. Look at cards that are coming out and target whatever version you want and start doing your homework. You know, track the prices of the versions that you want, because these are going to, if people say, you know, they're going to affect other versions of these cards, right? So keep your eyes open wide on those. But this is like the highest, hey, dump it now. I don't even know what to say about Urza. I expect that to be a bulk rare by the end of this.
Yeah.
The fourth printing in 4 years. Jesus. Like,
yeah,
I can't make that shit up. You know, it's just like, that's a card I keep looking at. Did it need a reprint? It was a good card, but nobody talks about it. Nobody's like, ooh, I got to get me an Urza now. I was like, ooh, I want to wait and see when they stop printing it till I get the $1.99 version of it.
Well, hey, thank you everybody for joining. Like Bob was saying, we've got another live stream here in about 10 minutes or so. We're doing our final session of D&D for this adventure. So please, everybody, look forward to seeing you guys just in a little bit, and, you know, stop in as we kind of finish everything up and kind of set the pace for what's going to be going on in the future.
Yeah. Please keep tuning in, and don't forget, we're live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Cardboard Conversations, so tune in then as well. We have a lot of amazing guests, so
yeah, for sure.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, thanks for your time, and be well. Come join us, watch us play some D&D in about 10 minutes if you like that sort of thing. If not, y'all have a good evening.